Hello and welcome to my review of DCeased Unkillables 2. It's 2 of 3, and I have not really been into this whole DCeased stuff. The first bit of DCeased, the first 6-issue mini, I thought was okay, but I thought it was pretty generic, a pretty generic setup to be the DC Walking Dead. And I know that Tom Taylor has this reputation, and everybody's going with the idea, oh, he kills everybody. Tom Taylor kills everyone. I'm a huge Tom Taylor fan. And the reason why is not because he kills everyone. And the whole thing with his Injustice run and everything else he's done, yes, a lot of characters end up dead, but it's the idea that he makes you love the characters through the humor and the interactions between them so that when you do end up having them killed, it really means something. It really tears you apart. And I didn't find that in the first DCeased. It seemed like everybody was just thrown there. You end up just having some deaths going on, but there was never that connection. And I really didn't get that in the first issue of Unkillables either. That changes here, and I'm going to try not to spoil some very big moments in this because there are some real big moments. But we start off in Bloodhaven with Gordon and Jason Todd. And you're getting a couple reminders here. You're reminded of that room that just has all the infected in the room. That is the undead elephant in the room, as Jason is saying. And so you go from there. But where I really started getting on board here is you're going to have that overlap with the original DCeased and this Unkillables. That ends here where you see the three characters that are our point of view characters through this as Gordon, Jason, and Cassandra Cain get the message over the radio from Lois Lane that there are these sanctuaries, Themyscira, Poison Ivy's jungle in Gotham, but also that they're leaving on these spaceships. And they could get there. The three of them could get to Gotham. They could get to the spaceships in time. The problem is, they end up having to take care of these kids, these orphans that they ended up getting to this orphanage in. And they're not going to be able to make it with them. So instead of ditching them, which happens again in a minute, they decide we're just going to have to fight our way through this apocalypse. You end up seeing the ships launch, and that is a good moment. It's kind of a wow moment, but a good moment that you end up, okay, now we're starting to get to new territory. This is after where we left that first DCeased miniseries. Let's see what goes on. Now, what goes on is over with Vandal Savage and his quote-unquote Unkillables. You end up having Mirror Master and Shiva want to go get Cassandra Cain. And it's Shiva who wants to use Mirror Master to do that. This is against the rules. It's against Vandal Savage's rules. Shiva doesn't care. She wants to go get her daughter, even though every time she's around her, all she does is talk trash. But they end up going, and Cassandra again shows this idea that we're here to protect these kids. Nobody's leaving anybody behind because Shiva says we're heading off. You can come and join Team Tree Lobster. Let's go. And Cassandra says, no, the kids have to come too. Shiva says that's not happening. And they start fighting. And basically, Shiva's just going to knock out Cassandra and pull her through a mirror to get her off to the island. That's not going to happen, though. And both are badass. Jason Todd comes in to try to stop this. He just gets kicked right in the face. And it shows you Shiva and Cassandra are pretty badass fighters. But you end up where you go back. They don't take Cassandra. They leave. It's kind of a touching moment where Shiva says goodbye to her daughter. And you go back off. And you end up having Vandal Savage getting pissed off and saying, you can't just take Mirror Master off and do what you want with him. He's one of the most important things we have. He can get us all around. You can't go and do your personal little nonsense with him. But in the meantime, Deathstroke says, we all have to come down here. We are the Unkillables, yet we're going to kill each other. We're going to end up, and this is a powder keg. You end up having villains from all over. They never get along normally. Now they're stuck on an island together. It's pretty crazy. Well, Vandal ends up saying, hey, Deathstroke, why don't you walk with me? Let's figure this out together. You know, we'll have a little mano-a-mano discussion. And they go into a room where you do see the Creeper is getting something done to him. There's Solomon Grundy doing the surgery with his Tree Lobster shirt on. And this is where we're going to lead into a ton of things that I don't want to spoil. But what you end up doing is ending up having a big bad show up, a big good that's now bad show up. All hell breaks loose on the island, where you end up having a bunch of the characters go off through the mirrors to the orphanage again, to Bloodhaven. So this is the setup where a bunch of the villains end up having to join up with Gordon, Jason Todd, and Cassandra Cain with these kids. And this is where I'm getting fully on board with this series, with this Unkillables mini series here. Not because of the killings, not because even the big bad that shows up and just wrecks house. No, the reason why I like it are the little moments. These are the things that Tom Taylor does best, where you have Deathstroke realize that Gordon is having some problems and goes up, hey, you lose somebody. And this is where you also get the idea where now you're going to get the oomph moment of, yes, this is an apocalypse. There are people that have lost a lot of people. This isn't just, hey, look at all these characters. Look at them beat each other up. Look at them die. These are the moments that I think are why Tom Taylor is such a great writer and why he's one of my favorites, are these moments that you get the connections between a Deathstroke and a Jim Gordon. You would never think that that would happen, but it is. And it ends up pretty much putting an exclamation point on the idea that this is an apocalypse and people who don't get along are going to have to if they're going to survive. So you end up with Gordon. He kind of steps it up. Deathstroke convinces him, you are a leader. He even says, listen, you led the police department. And Jim Gordon says, well, those were loyal people that I trusted. And Deathstroke says, you put Gotham, one of the worst cities ever created. You kept it under control. And by the way, those loyal police officers, the ones you trusted, half of them were dirty cops. They were on my payroll, for crying out loud. So seriously, wake up, smell the zombies, and let's get moving. And he does go out and he says, listen, we're going to prepare. We're going to prepare these kids and all of us to get ready for this apocalypse. Okay, now we end up quickly getting rid of one of the loose ends, that gymnasium, I guess, with all of these infected people in it, children, parents, caregivers. They say you got to get rid of them. And it does end up giving you another bit of, hey, this is a war. This is an apocalypse. You can't sit there and use the old rules of, well, those children or teachers or parents, they have to be taken care of. And you have some villains there to do that, and they do, kind of like a Reservoir Dogs deal there, where they just take care of them, and that's done. We get to push that aside. Now, this is now definitely 100% where I'm on board, because now you get bad villains who now, like Tom Taylor does in a lot of his books, he ends up being able to twist and turn and make these villains who are awful. We have Bane there. We just got done reading City of Bane, and he was awful. So is the story, kind of, but hey, that's just me. But the idea that you're going to sit there and see Bane, a Solomon Grundy, Creeper, Cheetah, Deadshot, and you're going to fall in love with them. And you're going to fall in love with them because they are going to do montages here to train these kids and train these kids to fight the zombies, but also kind of fall in love with them and get along and even get to the point where they seem to enjoy being good guys here. And that is the best. There you get Creeper, Mr. Jokester. He's going to do his class on witty things to say when beheading undead. He's there for the comic relief, but it works now. Plus, on the one side, you see he's selling the tree lobster shirts. He's trying to make some money here. And you do end up seeing with kids having the shirts and things, but you see Bane, he's doing his nonsense teaching. Everybody's teaching these kids to get ready for this apocalypse and hopefully surviving it and what comes next. But if you really want to go with the idea of what's going on here and what is the thing that'll make me fall in love with all this, it is Solomon Grundy, who goes through his whole deal. Born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, grew worse on Friday, died on Saturday. Yeah, that's all what we all know about Solomon Grundy. But when you turn it into, happy on Sunday there with him, with the kids, then you've made me fall in love with all this. Now, also in the background of all of this, because you're having so much fun, because it is the kids dealing with these villains, the villains starting to fall in love with the kids, all that, you start to lose track that they are in an apocalypse at this point. You start to forget that all hell has broke loose. And that seems to me as if it is on purpose, because now Tom Taylor he's gotten you in his grip. You are enjoying the fun. You are enjoying the crazy, smiles that you're getting in the middle of a book that's just about a disaster. Well, that's when the disaster comes back. And that's when it hits hard. It hits harder when you are falling in love with these characters and also falling in love with them having fun with each other. It just creeps back up. But I do want to mention that you're never going to see anything else where Bane ends up trying to calm down Ace and have him kiss him. But yeah, there's trouble coming. Again, things hit, the shit hits the fan. Now, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but you do end up with these kids that are trained enough, I guess, and some of our heroes and villains that are remaining having to pretty much now battle a lot of big bads and a lot of stuff going on. And it sets up such a great cliffhanger to go to the final issue of this 3-issue mini that I'm on board. I ended up talking to a lot of people who listen to the podcast, people on our Patreon, that I was not down with DCeased, and this Unkillables just seemed to be, okay, well, they're just throwing this out there. Finally, though, we get all these issues, and it takes till this issue where I see the Tom Taylor that I love. And in my written review, I even said that it is not the DCeased zombie DC Walking Dead that I love. That's not why I'm enjoying this now. It is the personal interactions between the characters, the way Tom Taylor makes me love characters before they might die, or just having villains being able to, in the middle of an apocalypse, being able to kind of put aside being a villain and really enjoy life for a day or so, it seems. Plus, I love montages. I'm a huge fan of Bloodsport. You're going to give me montages. I am all in. Because of all this, I am going to give it an 8.5. And if you wonder, boy, Jim, you talked a lot of that. I don't like the art. I didn't like the art at all in that first issue. I don't really like it at all in this issue. There are moments where it's better than some, but it's not good overall. I am not a fan at all. So I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. And I know that some people have even been talking that, this seems weird to read now because of with the coronavirus and stuff like that.
I don't watch the news.
I don't watch the news, but you can't escape that. So yeah, that is a little odd. It does feel a little strange with it, but that's not Tom Taylor's fault. He had no idea what was coming, or did he? I don't know.
Wrong here.
I don't know, but yeah, an 8.5. I'm enjoying this. I'm looking forward to that next issue. I am on board now. It's a shame that it took me all these issues to get on board, but I'm on board now. But I hope that you enjoyed this video review. I didn't want to spoil a ton, so I hope that you go and get the issue to see some of those big moments that I skip. But I hope you also enjoyed this video. I hope that if you did, you will like it and subscribe below. And also check the description of this and all the videos that I do that has all the links to all the weird science stuff, podcasts, websites, DC, Marvel, all of that stuff. We also have a Patreon, as I just mentioned, at patreon.com/weirdscience, where you can go and support us for everything we do, including these videos. But I hope you'll check all of the things out, and I'll talk to you later.